We have only one tech time story, so I'm just going to throw it in here right now. Congratulations,
Okay, cool.
Google! You're 23 as of
Oh,
yesterday. So Google turned 23 yesterday. And let me see if they still have the.
thanks.
Yeah, they went back to their normal logo. Normal logo. Yesterday, they had like this birthday cake logo. It was really cool. I didn't press
Oh,
the button though. You know how they have the animations and stuff?
yes, you can
Actually,
press
there's a
it and
way to
then
go back
find
into
out
the
what about it.
history too. Let me see if
Is there?
Google turns 23. Google turns 23. Let me see if I can get the actual
The
thing on screen. Oh, here we go. Do 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 do.
about. I think you just hit about and doesn't it do it? Okay.
There it is. That was the Google's 23. And no, I don't want breaking news from you.
No.
But I don't know.
23.
Yeah, I don't know. And they do keep a whole, like, if you're ever bored,
They
Google
do.
has all of them in one page. I just don't remember the actual link to it. So
Yeah, I don't remember it either. I
uh,
know Bandit. You need
he
Bandit.
needs to go
Now
out. We
Bandit's
need to get
like
this done.
he's
Oh,
like,
you know,
"Hey, what?
the cat just went crazy too. Knocked over a cushion and ran. He scared himself.
Oh,
We had one other. Ah, man, I should have hit the tech news button. Now I'm
do
gonna
it,
hit it
do
just
it, do
because.
it. I'm gonna take my dog out while
Hey,
you do
did
that.
you just
Because
install
he's gonna
something in
pee
my
all over the
USB
place.
drive?
Cool.
Or my HDMI port? Or did you plug
I'll
something
give you
in my
guys play by
headphone
play.
jack?
I'm getting on the
It's
leash
time for Tech
right
Talk.
now.
And I'll just turn it to tick view. Hey, everybody.
He's about ready to
The
explode.
professor has run away. And
Opening up
so
the back
the next thing
door.
on our story
That sounds
is
really weird.
Raspberry Pi. Now, if you didn't know, this camera that we use right now, which obviously has a green cast to it, and I'm going to have to fix that, but it is a Raspberry Pi camera. It is the HQ camera, and it goes into a Raspberry Pi, an old one actually, and then that goes into my computer. I actually take it out the HDMI port and into the computer. Now, the reason I'm bringing up the Raspberry Pi right now is because there are three reasons I use it, or three reasons that I got into it originally. Now, I'm not sure if you know as well, the flashing screen in the background, which hasn't flashed in previous weeks, so I'm going to have to figure out the camera combo. But that is actually a digital signage using a Raspberry Pi. I have two Raspberry Pis in my productions, and I'd probably have three or four more if I could figure out how to have three or four more. Now, they have sold 42 million so far. And the reason that I got into it was that I needed an inexpensive HD camera because when they came out, you could get the Raspberry Pi, the camera for like 50, 60 bucks total. And it was the cheapest way that you could get a camera that good. And I had never owned an infrared camera. So I was like over the moon excited to get an infrared camera when they came out with what is called the Raspberry Pi No IR or Noir camera. This right here is the HQ camera, which is actually a fairly expensive camera. It's $50. But when you compare the $50 camera that you're looking at to, say, an expensive DSLR that might cost $700, and the image quality I think is amazing. That is just my opinion though, obviously. So there were three reasons I got into it. One was the inexpensive HD video camera. The second reason was there was a computer called the Gumstick computer, which is an amazing computer, but it was like almost 150 bucks. And it's the size of a piece of gum stick. Well, oddly enough, I'm still on the last story. The Raspberry Pi Zero W came out a few years after the original Raspberry Pi, and it's literally the size of gum stick. And I have one around here, and unfortunately it's not within arm's reach, or I would show it to you. So that dream came true for me. And again, I used it as a camera. I actually took a picture and I won a contest, and that's another story for another day. But then the third reason that I got into it is the article that we're going to discuss in a second. And that is that kids had no idea, none, zero, what the innards of a computer were. Because how many kids do you know have a tablet? They have a laptop that their parents use, but the parents basically turn everything off and just let them use like Netflix or something. So they have tablets and they have smartphones. You can't get to the file system on an Apple product, or you couldn't until recently. So you're not seeing the file systems. And that actually leads to our story here, which is apparently, which isn't surprising to me, because I actually learned this from the Raspberry Pi Foundation. The reason the Raspberry Pi came out was because the guys that work for the foundation, they basically found out that kids knew nothing about computers. They had no idea what a computer was because there's what's called an abstraction layer. You basically use a tablet, but you don't know the underlying stuff. And so when they went to college in Cambridge over in the UK, they had known 5, 6, 7 languages, including assembly languages and stuff like that. And that's my generation. I'm an Xer, Gen Xer. And then when we got to the Gen Z kids, they would come to school and they would go, okay, what programming languages did they go? And they would rattle them off. I know HTML, I know JavaScript, and they would name some other esoteric thing that doesn't mean anything. These aren't real languages. Like, these are basically what are called scripting languages. They're not real. And this article discusses the fact that that kids in the Gen Z, they don't know what a file system is. They don't know that, like, there's like a hierarchy and that you have different things, and they've got no ideas. And the reason being is they never see it. And again, when the Raspberry Pi came out, and let me see if I have a demo model right here that I can pull off the shelf. This is my secondary camera. The Raspberry Pi right here, you can hold it. You can see it. You can see all the little buttons on it. And the Pi Foundation has gone above and beyond to make it so that kids can program, and the parents don't have to worry about my $5,000 or $500, $2,000 computer being blown up by the child hitting a virus. You have a problem with that, press a button, operating system's gone, we're good to go. So that's the story, Professor. And how's the puppy? Puppy doing good?
Good. Yeah, he everything's fine with his bowel movements.
Everything.
And then he went and grabbed the loudest freaking toy that he could possibly find from upstairs.
I dig that. I totally and completely dig that.
So I threw that in my bathroom and closed the door, and he was like, "What the hell are you doing?
Why am I in here? What?
Well, he's not in there, but the toy is.
The toy is. Well, that makes sense.
The toy is. Yeah.
Thank you for watching this segment of the TP Show. Please follow us on Fruit Lab. Don't forget we have a podcast on your favorite podcast app. This has been another installment of the TP Show.